Welcome back, everybody, for Game 2 of Seven Deadly Sins taking on the United Poros of Runeterra. My name is Everyday, and with me once again is Last. It was an explosive Game 1. What are your takeaways?
UPR just completely steamrolled 7DS. 7DS didn't exactly play bad, but UPR just knew exactly when to pounce, and that just completely snowballed the game. Sejuani and the Orianna definitely showing that they have what it takes to be high competitors in Division 1 after this first game.
Very true. We are just going to be waiting to get into draft. What things would you like to see change up here for the Seven Deadly Sins to take us to a Game 3?
Well, obviously, I think that 7DS, I've seen most of their players pull off scaling comps incredibly well before, but against UPR, unless they change their playstyle with that draft, I think we should probably see something along the lines more of what Jarvan can bring to the table. Probably some early skirmishing, something that can probably get Prio in the mid lane. We saw that Orianna was almost always first to fights in the mid lane, so something with a lot more wave clear in the mid lane could probably be helpful. Something with a bit more early game priority could definitely work for Seven Deadly Sins. Otherwise, UPR at this point can do whatever they want. I haven't seen them play the scaling comp yet, but it definitely could be interesting to see an early game versus early game here to see out who comes out on top.
Yeah, for sure. So far, the band's looking very similar with the notable change of Sejuani hitting the bench this time. They don't want to deal with that tank jungler. Makes sense. The Sejuani was very, very good in the hands of Doggo Quixote.
Sejuani was extremely proactive throughout the entire game, getting almost all the lanes ahead, except for give or take bot lane. But it's definitely something you want to take off the table if you do plan to do something a little more mid to early game.
Yeah, for sure. And there is that Twitch ban again. The United Poros not seeing a need to change anything. And of course, why would they? It was a very easy Game 1 victory. I'm sure they'd love to run it back. What will Seven Deadly Sins start off with? They go the Lulu first pick. All right.
Lulu first pick, obviously not that much of a flex. Of course, you sometimes see it in the mid lane if you really need it to be, but I can almost definitely guess that this is going to support. Lulu still being an incredibly strong enchanter support, along with Yuumi probably being some of the best supports in the game right now, just from the ability that they can just shut down everybody on the opposing team, or in Yuumi's case, make everybody a hyper carry.
There is the set being picked up. Big Bang will go back to the big boy in the top lane. Had a fairly good performance. The lane phase, of course, did get solo killed, but his contribution to team fights was hard to ignore. Looks like they want to go the Ezreal instead of the
Ezreal and
Ashe. Of course,
extremely
Ashe was
safe.
banned, so.
Yeah, Ashe was banned. They did feel that the Ashe arrows and the Sejuani ultis were just a bit too much. They were getting caught out quite a bit, probably because of positioning, so understandable that they want to get those off the table. Ezreal being an extremely safe AD carry, you can just pick really any support with that, and it should be able to work out. They do pick the Cog Lulu, an extremely oppressive bot lane. This could be quite irritating for Ezreal to lane against if they do get some jungle presence and do tend to snowball that ahead, but we'll have to see how the rest of the draft plays out to see if they'll try and back up the Kog'Maw or just let it be kind of a backline threat, but the main carry being in the mid lane.
This is such an early Cogmore pick. It's so bold. Don't know about this one, I'm going to be honest. There is so much opportunity to pick dive to actually kill the Cogmore, but all right. I like it. I love it. If they can make it work, I'll be a happy boy. I love me some Cogmore.
It's definitely ballsy from 7DS, but if they feel like they really need it in the first rotation, sure. I highly doubt that people are going to ban Kog'Maw unless it's in the mid lane, but I don't think Freezy plays Kog'Maw in the mid lane, right? Karthus being picked, that is probably going to be in the jungle if I had to guess. Aatrox also picked for 7DS. I believe that is a comfort pick for yourself. Oh, bird.
He just wants attention. I'm sorry.
He just wants attention. Set is still flexible technically. It could be okay into the both a mobile Lulu and Kog'Maw in the bot lane. And Ezreal, he does enjoy having engaged supports, being able to just set up his W and getting free damage off that, and getting some lockdown to set up his ulti once you hit level 6. But again, it could be flexing the top lane or support. We do see a Corki ban. coming out from UPR, so they did feel that Freezy was getting a bit tough to handle in later parts of the game. We did see that his package was quite a good zoning tool around the Rift Herald around the later stages of the game. And of course, Corki also being a rather good scaling pick could work well with what 70s are drafting.
Yeah, it makes sense. Just get rid of the comfort. Try and force Freezy a little bit further down the champion pool. And it is the double mid lane ban. It makes sense. Just get rid of that LeBlanc as well. The assassination tool. Not something Karthus really wants to have to go against. So,
We'll
see
have to
what
see.
we round these comps out with.
So again, they do leave the Orianna open, so that could mean that Nylon it does pick up the Orianna again, or they could try and pick it up for Freezy. They'll probably just UPR will probably pick the Orianna here and leave. They did feel rather comfortable on it, leaving it open into a mid blind pick. But it does look like they're picking the Karma for the Ezreal. We'll have to wait until they lock it in. But that is an extremely poke-oriented lane with the Ezreal just stacking up his mana flow band in the early game and Karma as well, just constantly ult queuing, and she doesn't really run out of mana, especially with the latest buffs to the support items that give them increased mana regen. That could be extremely oppressive versus Kog'Maw, who don't have much sustain, and if they don't shield correctly, it could chunk them out and make sure that they couldn't all in.
Very, very true. And it looks like Freezy might be taking the ball to the Rift this one. Of course, it was Nalden last game who had a fantastic Orianna performance, but it will be Seven Deadly Sins picking it up this time. I like it as a pick. I think it makes Karthus's life very hard. And ooh, do we get some Nunu?
I tend to praise Freezy's Orianna almost every chance I get because playing against him, it is not easy. He tends to set up the balls extremely well and sets up the shockwaves. So this is a very interesting pick to see from 70s to see if they can play around it. Lee Sin, so again, early game jungler, scaling bot lane, and top lane with interesting matchups. So 70s just seems to have repeated what they did last game, just with a different comp.
Yeah, it looks that way. And Silas is the final hover here. Do they want to take that one probably into the mid lane, I have to assume? Of course, with Lee Sin to round out the Seven Deadly Sins comp. Let's watch these swaps. I have to assume it's Silas mid, Karthus jungle.
I
But
think that, yeah, I believe so.
yep.
Karthus, of course, being the scaling pick for UPR, it's probably just something that it does work out in the mid game if you can get an ulti like cross map skirmish and then Karthus just ults, but it's also an extremely high priority scaling pick. And just put it into your comp, and you have something kind of like Kassadin. You have late game, what is it called? Insurance.
Insurance.
Yeah, late game insurance. That's exactly what it is. I also want to
That said, Karthus at 2 items is actually like everyone underestimates 2-item Karthus. His
definitely,
damage
and
isn't fair.
it is not, especially if he gets a lot of early game Dark Harvest stacks. His E can also be extremely volatile with Dark Harvest. He just flashes in. You don't expect a squishy mage to flash in, but with Karthus E on, if he gets a slow on you with your W, you are going to be taking half your HP just from an aura. And of course, they do love having that skirmish ability. Karthus, he can just be farming red buff, and then all of a sudden, oh, fight mid lane, boom, ulti, half HP gone, maybe even kill somebody. So of course it has a very long cooldown, but we did see that the fights just tended to be whenever the ultimates were up. UPR tended to fight whenever Ashe ulti was up or Sejuani ulti was up, so they might do the same here. One thing I do want to look at, especially during the game, is this Orianna versus Sylas matchup. In the first couple of levels, it can be extremely hard for Sylas to do anything. He should definitely have a hard time keeping up in gold if he doesn't get any kills. Just Orianna has quite a bit of range with that Q in her auto attacks, and with the clockwork windup on her passive, her auto attacks can be quite something to get hit with.
Yeah, it's not a super fun lane to play as Silas. I will expect him to lose, a little bit in CS, but if he comes out of that lane 20 CS down, that's honestly fine. Silas, again, one of those people everyone underestimates. He is that early skirmisher, but I also think he's one of the strongest scaling picks in the game. People never think he is, but he's ridiculous in the late game. That W is, again, it's not a fair spell. It is busted.
Silas W is definitely a spell that people tend to love to hate. It has a pretty high base healing, which does make it pretty volatile in the early game, which allows him to save himself from certain situations that you probably wouldn't be able to save yourself in other champions. He does have mobility on his E as well. If you take a bad trade on Silas, W, E out, maybe hit a second E on a minion to get out auto attack range, you should be fine. It really depends on how Freezy plays the lane. If he lets Nylon get close to him and get any sort of damage off, he should be able to win that trade. But Freezy, if he just sits back, Qs a bit, auto attacks a bit, denies him minions, because is careful of Karthus, he should be fine in that lane. But definitely, like you said, Silas scaling is very scary as well.
Very true. But as we do get towards the end of our spectator delay, let's zoom out and look at both comps in their entirety. Who do you think's come out ahead here?
It it's based on how I saw 70s play this almost exact same comp last game. I do think UPR have one out, just because if they can do anything early game with this Ezreal Karma bot lane, they have the bot lane Prio, which does allow Karthus to kind of just free roam around the bot lane. We saw that on Sejuani, he was getting a lot of deep wards and stuff, so that could definitely lead to some early game priority due to those picks. But now they have also picked some late game insurance with the Karthus and kind of with the Silas, but his mid game spike is also pretty crazy. So we'll have to see if they just try and do the same thing with the early game bot lane prio, or if they just try and ride the wave out, maybe try and get some mid game spikes. Like you said, 2-item Karthus, 2-item Silas is also extremely scary. So it really comes down to how UPR are going to play this comp, but in the end, I think it's their draft.
Yeah, for sure. Execution is going to be very, very important. And just something to note, that is a lethal tempo on that Cogmore. So I think it's going to be AD, or on hit rather. It'll be on hit. I think I would have preferred the full AP.
I definitely think so. But I don't think that UPR have that much to be able to get back onto an AP Kog'Maw. Of course, 7DS also have 2 AD threats with the Lee Sin and the Aatrox, so definitely an AP could have worked out. But in the end, I think Kog'Maw Lulu, because of Lulu's just insanely volatile on hit from her shield, I think it just works better in the end for that. And I think if you're far enough back with the extended range that you get from the Bioarcane Barrage, if they play it correctly, they should be able to do the exact same thing, just with a little more consistent damage.
Yep, and we do unfortunately go to a Sepia Rift. We do see apparently there were some bathroom issues.
Small bladder.
Yep. Happened in the LCK today. There was a tech pause for the bathroom issues. One of the funnier ones that always happens.
That's what happens when you play from home, I guess. It's just something you have to live with.
Yeah, I guess. This was in the stadium in the LCK, of course. I had to run off stage.
Oh, yeah. Oh, didn't even
very, very funny. But regardless, let's think about a league much more prestigious than the LCK. It is, of course, Valence League, which we have this game 2 of. There's a little bit of meeting in the bot lane, but that ward stops any early play.
There was an idea by UPR to try and get something level 1. They do have a quite strong level 1, but so does 7DS with the Lee Sin and the Aatrox can be quite volatile. But of course, they're not stacking, and they just get a free ward on the red buff. That's free vision. Hopefully 7DS counters that, and they did get vision on the Raptor side as well. So they're just trading vision in the end, and it's just exactly what you'd expect from the early game, except Freezy didn't try and ward and die for it.
I was about to say, it's already an improvement for 7 Deadly Sins as Freezy has managed to ward without dying. Very proud of him. Everyone in chat, make sure you give him a little clap. Managed to get his ward down without paying for his life.
WSL, wards save lives. And Freezy, he didn't understand that wards save lives over time and not exactly close it down.
Exactly. But we do have both the junglers starting on the bot side, getting those strong duo leashes. Where do you expect the early pressure to be?
I do expect it to be where there's the most gank setup, which is in the top lane. The Aatrox doesn't too well into certain matchups where they get really close to your face, like Set. So if they can get the Aatrox ahead, he can be an extremely high dive threat against UPR, which could be something that 7DS need, as they didn't really get to do much diving last game either.
Yeah. No, it was no real dives. Pool was closed in the first game. As at the moment though, it is just a farm fest. Jungler's Lee Sin actually doing a buff to buff, while Karthus, of course, is doing the full clear. Ooh, Heya got absolutely clobbered.
That's the scary trades that you see in the top lane. And bot lane, they're just getting poked out as you expect. But it does seem that they've gotten some poke back on the enemy bot laner as well. It does seem that Karthus is just doing his normal full clear, but it does look like Lee Sin might be looking for the invade here. Of course, he does have a stronger early level, but Karthus does spot him out.
Yep, he hasn't actually got the red yet, though. This is actually going to be a denied red, as the buff isn't down. He's had to call in his mates to come help him out, and he just has to hit the recall. This is really slowing this Karthus down. He wasn't healthy enough on his clear.
That's exactly what you want to see from a Lee Sin pick into these kind of scaling junglers. You have so much priority to just walk in, and if they try and stop you, you just kill them. Conquer is extremely useful on Lee Sin as well, especially if you get to this extended trades because of that healing. And mixed with this W, it is insane to try and whittle him down. So good side from good job from Lacmatar. Lee Sin to just try and make sure that Karthus gets late game insurance exactly when he needs to be late game.
Yeah, exactly. As just looking down the waves, it is actually the mid wave. Oh, hello, we have a bit of a fight, but Lee Sin has come in. Nalden needs to try and find a way out, but he knows he's dead and just takes it.
He uses that E aggressively, which is something you have to do in that match if you want to try and trade, but he didn't expect Lee Sin to still be in the top side, and in the end he just gets clobbered on and doesn't use his flash. You can't really escape from that. Lee Sin had already landed the first part of Sonic Wave. But a bit greedy there to try and look for a trade when you didn't have that much vision on the jungle, especially into a melee range thing.
Yeah, very, very true. As, let's sort of look a little bit forward. Where are the win conditions? How do these teams want to play these out?
Well, obviously for the side of 70...
Oh, okay. As there it is once again. Oh, wow. Okay. Nine and having a bit of a rough time. This Lee Sin pick really working out.
Ignitar just getting...
up in the top lane. That big shield is the only thing keeping Big Bang alive.
Are we going to see a repeat solo kill? You yourself also gets very low, but does get the solo kill again? No, it does look like it's backing out.
Yeah.
As you were saying before about the win conditions, obviously for late game we do have the Cog Lulu. Once he gets that Ginsu's mixed with the Lulu on hit damage, it is just insane the amount of damage. People don't expect, like, oh yeah, Kog'Maw, he has Ginsu's, maybe a Bork, depending on how his build path goes. He probably does some damage to tanks. No. With Lulu, he does damage to everybody. He will shred you to bits from the longest range possible. So definitely a win condition there. Freezy, he's doing pretty well in his lane. He's a bit behind in CS, and he hasn't really gotten that much in terms of kills, but Orianna could definitely be extremely good against the squishier part of UPR. And of course UPR, they have the two scaling picks. Ezreal, you should never underestimate Ezreal with Muramana fully stacked. That is a scary champion to play against, but they did pick the Karthus, so of course Karthus is definitely going to be scary as well.
Yeah, for sure. I really do like the UPR comp if they manage to get to the late game, but at the moment they're being very badly pressured here in the early game. Those two kills in the mid lane doing a lot to open the map up.
It's gonna be very
interesting Drake as well
to see how this Sylas is gonna build from the 0-2 deficit. It's just gonna be very hard for him if he doesn't build like early game items, kind of like Proto Belt, to try and get back into the game into these mid game, late early game skirmishes. We have the Drake being picked up by Lee Sin. Of course, he has pressure over this Karthus completely. Karthus shouldn't really be trying to do early game Drakes. So good for 7DS understanding that we have the early game advantage right now, but we just need to try and snowball it as much as we can, and of course, Drake's helping that.
Ooh, up in the top lane, ults are being used. There's the showstopper trying to bring him back. Can he get under tower? He can, but it doesn't matter as the wings were out and Aatrox claims the kill.
Solo kill picked up for yourself. Bang is just not doing great into this matchup. It does look like he's picking up the pork as well, which is interesting, seeing as the only HP item you really see in the first two items for Aatrox is going to be that Black Cleaver. And of course he's going to be looking to on-hit, which is probably good into the matchup. In set versus any Aatrox lane, you want to be trying to get as close to as possible.
Ooh, shockwave used, but the E just good enough there. That was very close to another death for Sylas.
That's where you see the Sylas side of this matchup, where he is just able to, if he gets onto Orianna, she's not going to be able to do much except shield and try and run away.
Speaking of getting onto people, it is going to be up in the top lane. They're trying to get onto this Aatrox. He gets face broke, and I think that'll be a Skittle claiming the kill.
Yourself overextending for those plates. Of course, you like that gold, but you don't really want to be giving it away to a Karthus either, who did end up picking up the kill there, which is not something you want to see, especially for somebody that did get quite punched in the early game, but is now actually ahead in CS again. Ignitar picking up 2 kills, but he's not really translating it too much right as of now around the map.
Yeah, I mean, it's very hard for a Lee Sin to keep pace with the Karthus. The clear speed of that Lich is a little bit ridiculous, but now it is once again Sylas in a lot of trouble. He manages to dodge away from the Q, but I don't think it's going to do very much at all as he's just buying time before he is sent to the grave. Now a Karthus ult used, doesn't get anything done because of the shields. It's all going a little bit wrong here.
Karthus probably swearing Lulu's name right now, but that is something you have to deal with something like Lulu, who just gives you HP, gives you shields, Karthus ulti on one person, and he did see the Kog'Maw was very low, but it doesn't matter when Lulu gives you half your HP and shields.
Yep.
So major cooldown used there, and it should not. Oh, Kog'Maw again getting very low.
Yeah, very, very low there. Another shield comes out, but Lee Sin has arrived. The flash away from Ezreal.
Kog'Maw probably expecting the Lulu ulti there so you can go a bit more ham, but it doesn't come out in the end, and Ezreal does have to burn the flash because of Lee Sin. Hopefully we can see something picked up on that. We didn't see really anything, we didn't see 7DS do much with a flashless Karma last game, so hopefully they can change their ways there. To the point I was making before about the Sylas vs Ori matchup, you can just see whenever his E is up, Orianna doesn't really have much to all in and with, while Sylas, he can just keep going with his W. The longer it goes, the better it is for Sylas. So if he just plays this matchup a bit safer right now, later into the game he should be able to just walk all over you.
Yeah, for sure. Of course, it's going to be hard to access Orianna in the team fights, as once again, the top laners are having a bit of a biffo. You love to see it. True top lane spirit, constantly fighting.
Oh, Freezy looking for the skirmish here.
Crazy. He actually has been found here, but Ignitar's coming in. There's a big shockwave. There's the stolen shockwave. Can he do enough? No. And now Dongan Quixote might be cursing his mid laner as he gets booted back towards the Orianna and taken out. And this time it is the 7 Deadly Sins running out to the big early lead.
Early lead, like you said, from 7 Deadly Sins, and the style points for Ignitar with the flash in sec to secure the kill on top lane.
Oh, top lane. Big Bang's got to run away, but he steps back into the queue. And Yourself claims another solo kill. It's all going wrong here from United Poros. Oh, and hello! He wants the kill in the mid lane, but they get away with a flash. Woohoo!
Wow, both flashes burned in the mid lane. That is going to be interesting to see what the junglers do with that. We do see that Lee Sin is trying to pick up the Rift Herald here. He is rather strong with the Warrior enchantment already picked up, but Karthus also has his Runic Echoes picked up. You shouldn't underestimate how much damage he can dish out right now. I want to talk about this top lane matchup a little bit. We do see that Big Bang picked up the Cutlass before he picked anything up like Ninja Tabbies or even an Executioner's Culling. He's just letting Yourself run him down when in those fights.
Hello, we've got this bot lane. There's a lot of damage being dealt. Lulu ult comes out. There's a Karthus ult there. Can they get a last bit of damage? No.
no exhaust being burned from Rewinder. That might have been able to turn the fight if we just exhausted the Ezreal so the Kog'Maw could just keep pumping damage onto the Karma. But in the end, UPR does get out on top, but Lee Sin is pathing bot lane here with the Flash's Ezreal. This could be problematic. Nope.
Yeah, this Ezreal's in a lot of trouble, but look at the mid lane. A shockwave has been used, and this Stylus is not starting any revolutions today.
Interesting turn of events. This is by far the most sandbaggiest game I've ever seen, where last game he was popping off on Orianna. But this game, it does not seem like he's going to be doing any popping off just as of yet. It might be Jiggy Diffy, but you never know.
It's a little bit of the jungle, but I do think it's mostly been on the laners themselves. Not great positioning out of this Silas.
Top lane? Oh my god!
Yeah, this actually could just be a solo kill. Okay, I didn't expect that. But there you go.
This segues me exactly in what I wanted to say. Bang, you are not playing this lane thing. Aatrox is exactly, you're exactly where Aatrox wants you to be. Mid-range. And you have not built executioners. Once he ults, there's nothing you can do. You need executioners, and you need to be up in his face. His first 2 Qs are going to be doing no damage to you. And you can use your E to maybe try and close the gap a bit, and just all in him. Your Showstopper does an insane amount of damage as well. And you just need to be trying to all in instead of just running away, because that's exactly where Aatrox wants you.
Yeah, and now we have Coyote perhaps in the right position. He has dropped that wall, but the teleports are coming in. They want all the boys here. The flash away from Karthus. Aatrox walking forward menacingly, but it will just be a bit of a stroll. Ooh, they look like they want the dive. The wards will spot them. Bot lane keep on running away. There they go. There's the huge shockwave. The kick as well, dealing so much damage. And I'm going to go ahead and say it. GG, you can surrender it to 20 guys here. Like, this is done. You're over.
Ignutar just saying, yeah, we're going to pick early game jungle again, but I'm going to do it right this time. And he gets mid lane ahead. Freeze's Orianna is nothing to scoff about. I've said it before, I'll say it again. He is just doing work with Ignutar, and they are just steamrolling all over this game. 12-1, that's what it was last game with UPR as well. But they did it earlier, they did it quicker. I think it also has to come down to yourself is just absolutely dumpstering this top lane as well. Mostly because of Bang's mistakes, but still, everybody, probably, the bot lane maybe not so much, but the 3 big parts of 7DS are just absolutely running over this game.
Yeah, I mean, this is just, honestly, just a bit of a stomp all over the map. It seems like the picks here, we praised them in game 1 for a very, very good execution of their composition. This game, it's a really shocking execution, and it's the 7 Deadly Sins that have been playing to their win condition much better.
So I guess this is just what happens when you try and draft different. They thought that, yeah, we could try maybe a late game draft, but it doesn't really work out for them in the end. Because Ignutar, he just understands what he did wrong last game, and he adapted to it, and that's really important from junglers to do that when... Oh, bot lane is kind of just trading. Back to my point. Bot lane for 7DS, they're just doing what you probably should be doing on a hyperscaling pick. You don't want to be too into those skirmishes if you don't really have to, especially when you're a bit weak right now. He doesn't even have any item picked up on the Kog'Maw.
Oh, he's gonna go for it again. You are not on enough health to do this. He steals the ultimate, but there is the ball pulling him back. He tried so hard, but now it is Aatrox who wants the kill. He gets one. Can he get another one? No, he gets shut down.
That is only a 150 gold bounty for the Aatrox, and in the end, it's not worth it for them at all because 7DS is picking up the tier 2 tower in the mid lane. They just 3 people bot lane for absolutely no reason, and 7DS are just capitalizing on it, exactly like UPR did last game. It's just a complete role reversal. It's incredible to see.
Yeah, this is a bit of a flip for sure. Hard to do much analysis on this one as that blast cone is used to get Silas out of there. Infernal Drake spawning in just about a minute will put 7DS on soul point.
Who needs color casting when you're just getting solo kills in the mid lane constantly? This is quite a game, and 7DS are just playing it exactly how they want to.
hello,
Oh.
Ignitar. He went for something cheeky, but Ward hops away.
Wow, I mean, they're 6K ahead at this point. I don't think there's anybody on UPR that are even close to gold ahead for everybody else. The most gold is on the Ezreal, of course.
Oh,
Again,
there's a
everyone.
stolen Orianna ult, hitting not much at all. I hate to keep cutting you off, but this does not stop, as there he is, showing you how to do a real shockwave, as Silas goes to 1-6.
Silas just being a caster's nightmare. He is just stepping forward, interrupting all of our points being made, and just dying once again. He does pick up the GLP, which is a pretty good ultimate option for Lulu's Echo, which is pretty strong on Silas as well because of his mana issues, but it does look like we're having a Drake fight.
Yeah, they want to contest this one. They might realize this is their last chance, but it's a 4v5. I think you've got to call this one off and just try and prevent the soul.
Yeah, there's not much you can do at this point. Silas does have TP, but I don't think... Oh, Silas is TPing in the back, behind him.
They've seen the opportunity. In goes the set, gets a big shield. Lulu ult is used, yourself goes very low, but it doesn't matter. There's no healing reduction, and it's the instant double kill for Cogmore. Karthus will do everything he can, but they can just ignore him like a spooky ghost from Scooby-Doo. And Haya will be the next one, and Karma's a bitch as she goes down, and it's the clean 8.
And that is why you permaban Lulu. Silas comes into the backline at the perfect setup to just melt the backline. Lulu, polymorph. I'm also gonna ult my AD carry for safe measure. Give him the on-hit debuff so he just melts everybody he's auditing. You can never underestimate a Kog'Maw. He's 0-0-0. He's behind in CS to the other AD carry, but one good team fight is all it takes. He has one item, and he just shredded through everybody. And Lulu just there. Hand off the keyboard, polymorphs the priority target, and that's all you need to do.
Yeah, and I think Karthus might have to have a chat with production after this game, because his microphone's clearly absolutely bugged, because these Requiems have been doing absolutely nothing. He needs to sing a hell of a lot louder.
He is not picking up very many ultimate hunter stacks either, so that is still going to be a very high cooldown Karthus ulti as well. And I mean, you're not going to get much from it anyways, just from the absolute amount of shielding on 70S's side with Lee Sin W, Orianna the shield, and Lulu with her ulti and E. If he tries to kill one person and they're around at least one of them, probably not going to be a kill. And I mean, there's not much any of them can do right now. 70S are just taking control of the map. I mean, they don't have as much vision control as I'd like to see them have, but they're still just picking up all the objectives on the map, and UPR are not really doing much about it. Not much they can do really either.
Yeah, I mean, there's no need for them to try and contest that second Rift Herald. It's not the most valuable objective, and like, contest is a strong word, more like die in front of. But you know who might be dying? It's Big Bang, as he might be big dead. Gets polymorph, goes for the showstopper, but the only one stopped is his heart.
70S finally showing up with the vision control, and they just get a free pick because he didn't know he was overextended, but they certainly did.
I mean, he should have known he was overextended. They knew the Rift Herald went down. That was pretty shocking. This is another engage down in the bot side, but not gonna lie, this has been a pretty shocking performance out of the Poros. Not sure what happened between the games.
I think this was a bit of some jungle mid communication issues that I think Silas wanted to engage sometime. Oh,
okay. Well,
Cogmore range. Cogmore range.
I think the game might be over. I'm not gonna lie. I think you can slash FF this one, lads.
I mean, 21-2. You're about 11.5k up at 20 minutes. I think the UPR still have a fighting chance. You know, they can definitely get back into this game. Karthus just has to hyper carry and ace them a couple times. Yeah. I'd probably still bet my assumptions. No, but there's nothing they can do. Silas, he's actually going for the Yandere. He's still a rather expensive item for being 1-7. He has okay CS, but yeah.
This Silas pick was really bad. I didn't say it in Champions League, and maybe I should have, but God, this pick sucked.
I tried to point it out with the melee into range matchup. Silas, that's why Silas top actually has a higher win rate in certain elos, because you don't have to play against ranged picks where you just get absolutely dumpstered on. And
I mean, you also like having ultimates that are good to steal.
Exactly. I mean,
These ults
mid lane
suck.
have yeah, they don't. He doesn't really have much. I mean, Aatrox's ulti is one of the strongest ultis, probably next to Alistar ulti for Sylas. The increased healing is insane, but still getting polymorphs.
Sort
He's never
of.
going to be able to
But
W.
exactly,
He's
that's
never.
the problem.
They're just getting shut down at every turn, and there's just not much that they can do right now. Sylas also picking up GLP, which is 2,800 gold, but I mean, I still think we probably should have seen a Proto Belt early, that extra
Yep.
mobility and the HP for Sylas. You're not going to be wanting to land your E's anyways when you're like that far behind. Oh, Karth is AFK.
Yeah, looked like a bit of an AFK there. Alright, that's just a
And the Requiem.
attack.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's official.
Okay, yeah.
It's official.
We...
Oh, Freezy just flashing it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, this is going to be another kill. I think they're just going to take the Drake and then hopefully walk it down mid lane, because this game's been over for about 15 minutes.
This, my friend, League of Legends incarnate solo queue. It is. I think I can say that most of this game probably stems from jungle and mid communication issues.
Yep.
But yeah, they just snowballed.
Oh, good. Look at this. What is
They're just
yeah, I think we're done here. I'm not gonna lie.
Should we even be casting? 7DS are just they're playing with their food.
Are we allowed to show this on Twitch?
No,
like,
I
there are rules against showing like really hardcore stuff. I don't think we're allowed to show this.
No, this is literally 7DS just being cats playing with their food. They are, of course, it comes down to Agrita and Freeze. Oh my god!
Oh my god.
Vision control.
I think there were a few other factors in vision control,
Yeah.
also known as one
Vision,
shot him.
I-
At the
I-
20
yeah.
fucking seconds.
Longer. I'm not sure I can say it, but from an outside perspective, my friend, you look very, very tilted. I just
yeah. I don't think that's a controversial call.
No, I don't think that is. Freezy picking up a Magi, it's just to be a little cheeky. You know, 23 stacks, nothing to scoff about. Rabadon's, how much AP is he sitting at right now? 771 AP at 24 minutes. This man will kill you with a Shockwave and a Stare.
With an Infernal Soul.
Yeah, with an Infernal Soul.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Lulu could probably 1v1 some of the players on UPR right now. I really do. I do want to talk about the build path from Bang and Sylas.
I mean, I know you want to, but I'm not sure there's too much of a point.
There's nothing else to talk about.
I mean, we can talk about the fact that we're not ending the game. Like, there's obviously been a bug the whole game. Lulu polymorphed Sylas and it never wore off. Like, he's polymorphed, right? That's why he does no damage.
Yeah,
he's been polymorphed the whole game. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a visual bug. He is actually like hands off the keyboard. But not exactly what you want to see from a counter pick matchup in mid lane. Oh my god!
Oh good god. Freezy goes legendary. And they get a consolation kill, or will it be the Swift 1v2? There's the suplex coming out, and I don't even think he cares. It's going to be the easy peasy 1v2. The Requiem comes out, does absolutely nothing. Freezy is legendary once more as Sylas is deleted from the map. And that will be the Nexus falling momentarily. And we'll be going to a game 3, as it was a stop in game 1. And now the boot fights back, as 7 Deadly Sins take a big win.
16k gold lead at 25 minutes for 7 Deadly Sins. Executioners with 800 gold. Somebody, please pick up Executioners. This Aatrox. It might not have been seen much, but he was doing work. Sean, he was just a product of his team being fed. He didn't really do much early game, not much he can do. But Agrita and Freezy, that's the jungle mid lane synergy you want to see. They are just stomping on Nylan, who's constantly out of position, probably wasn't communicating with his jungler, and the game was over after like 7 minutes.
Yep, it was. But we'll have to find out who will be able to end the series, as we'll be back in just a little bit to bring you Game 3 of the United Porros of Runeterra taking on the 7 Deadly Sins. Don't go anywhere, guys. We hope you are enjoying the show, and we will see you in no time at all.